beautifully. It is over. He's done it. How about that for heroics? Comes Castellanos. He lays out and makes the catch. Kyle Schwarber tees off. Fastball hit to left. It is long gone. The swing is live. It is bedlam at the bank. Castellanos coming on. Castellanos gets it. And the Phillies have the National League Championship.
So the outfield one is an interesting one. Obviously, we need Matt Veerling has gone the backup for Brandon Marsh. So we've got Brandon Marsh, Harper on the DH. Even when he returns from the injury, we got out that backup. Two names that have been mentioned a lot: Adam Duvall, McCutchen, both free agents. Do the Phils pull the trigger on either of those two, Alex? Can you see it happening?
I think that, Dalton Guthrie still exists. So Dalton Guthrie is going to be a guy that definitely gets some time to, hang out in center field, maybe defensively replace and right field, depending on what they do defensively, or maybe in left field too, with Kyle Schwarber out there. But I think there are very few free agents left on the market that make more sense for this team than Adam Duvall. One of the best arms in the major leagues, is an elite defender at both the corner and apparently center field, as was expressed through his time with the Braves, which is a shock. But he makes a ton of sense, not only as like a late game power bat off the bench, but also a defensive replacement. He has, again, a hugely strong arm, accurate arm, covers both of those positions of need for the Phils. Could potentially, when Harper gets back, maybe he kind of platoons at times against left-handed pitching in center field. Who knows, but he makes a ton of sense for the Phillies. Tyler Naquin does too, especially with the shift kind of going away. Tyler Naquin is a really often shifted against bat, who also would really benefit from, the Phillies short porch in right field. There's a couple other guys like Brian Anderson, who used to play for the Marlins. I really can also act as kind of like some infield depth as well. Obviously another really strong arm and a really, lots of potential in that bat. But I think you're definitely going to see them make a play for some sort of outfield depth. Maybe it is Andrew McCutchen. I'm sure he can probably find a starting spot elsewhere, just because of his veteran leadership. But who knows? For vibes alone, everybody would love to see Andrew McCutchen come back.
Yeah, so catching that clubhouse. Oh man.
Yeah, I definitely think you're going to see the Phillies make a move for an outfield bat. I think that's pretty, whether that's a trade or whether that's a free agent acquisition.
Yeah, and infield, Trey Turner. When I was walking around the club shop last week, with the Turner jerseys, I'm like, damn, Trey Turner's a Philly. Wow, what a signing, what a deal. Go on, Alex. For those that don't know, or know Trey Turner, good player, don't know, the in-depths about him. What is this superstar bringing, this stud bringing to the Phillies lineup?
It is very seldom, I think, that you look at a team and see three perennial MVP candidates on that team. But JT Realmuto just finished 10th in MVP voting last year. Bryce Harper, obviously, when he's healthy, will probably get some votes. Already won the award in 2021. Trey Turner, I think he's like the 7th or 8th most WAR accrued player over the last 6 or 7 years. What are you going to complain about when it comes to that guy? Just elite speed, and doesn't just rely on his legs to get things done. He is also one of the, as Charlie Manuel put it, one of the smoothest swings, or the smoothest swing in baseball. With he's got pop, surprisingly, for his small frame. He's just a complete baseball player. And yeah, the glove at shortstop might not last forever. He showed a lot of improvement over the last 2 years, but probably won't last forever. But he would be a darn fine second baseman. And they also have Bryson Stott, who maybe after because he's going to play at second base this year, but maybe when Trey Turner's ready to move over to second base, Bryson Stott shifts over to shortstop. Who knows? But I mean, the Phillies have acquired another perennial MVP candidate. They did so at a shockingly low annual average value.
Great deal. Yep.
I mean, he's gonna be a Philly for life, and that is pretty darn cool, if you ask me. Just the perfect guy. He ticks all the boxes, right? He's gonna hit leadoff. He is, he generates runs all by himself. He's a smart base runner. He's the full thing. He's the complete package. Yep. And I mean, especially with bigger bases this year, JT Realmuto already had a 2020 season last year.
Good point. Yeah.
Like with for goodness sakes, Kyle Schwarber stole 10 bases last year. Like the Phillies are a very good team on the base paths. So with Trey Turner at the top of your lineup, I mean, singles could be doubles before you know it with him. Just specifically because, I mean, these bases are only getting larger. So who knows what that's going to do for the game of baseball, but I'm really excited to see what Trey can do in a Phillies uniform. It's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, a .298 average alone for Trey Turner last year. It's just the lineup could be absolutely deadly. What if the season started tomorrow? What would be your lineup right now?
Oh, this is so difficult because without Bryce Harper, right? Things get a little bit interesting. For me, I think it's gonna go Trey Turner to JT Realmuto.
You think Trey will lead off?
I do. I think no matter what happens, I think Trey Turner's leading off. I just think that a lot of the team seems to, or a lot of the fan base, seems to think that like Kyle Schwarber is devoted to hitting leadoff, and it's a non-starter for him. He has to hit leadoff. I don't know how true that is, but I do know that it would be silly not to put Trey Turner batting leadoff. It'd just be silly. Like especially him and JT Realmuto hitting back to back in this lineup. That's such a hard tandem to double up.
Yep.
Like you are guaranteeing that, if one of them gets on base, one of them's going to stay on base. And that's kind of great. So I would go Trey to JT. I back Kyle Schwarber third. I do think Kyle Schwarber hitting third would be a really interesting outcome because obviously with the shift going away, we are kind of going to start seeing his average climb a little bit.
Yeah.
There was also a lot of, he got a bit unlucky last year in terms of, not in terms of batting average, but in terms of like slugging and things of that nature. He's a really good baseball player. So I'm excited to see maybe he ends up hitting third. And I would probably put like Rhys Hoskins at fourth, Nick Castellanos at fifth, maybe Bryson Stott creeps into the 6 hole. Then probably whoever is going to be in right field, replacing, the injured Bryce Harper, whether that's Adam Duvall or somebody else. I'd bat them 7th, Alec Boehm 8th for now. I'm expecting a lot of good things out of Alec Boehm in 2023. I'm just saying. For now, Alec Boehm batting 8th, and then Brandon Marsh batting 9th. Is how I'd line it up. And that's a lot of speed, man. Going from 9 to 1 to 2. Like Brandon Marsh is pretty darn quick. Then you go to Trey Turner, one of the fastest men in all of baseball, and then JT Realmuto, the fastest catcher probably ever. I mean, like that's a lot of speed. That's a pretty darn good way to turn the lineup.
It's a lot of pop and it's a lot of speed, which is a pretty damn good mix to have. You know what
it sure is.
This lineup, when Bryce is back in it, stacking up the rest of the NL East, like we genuinely have a shot at winning this division and going again and going one step further. Honestly, we've improved on last season.
I don't think it's far-fetched to say that this, with Bryce Harper back, this is probably the best lineup in the NL East. Just because, I mean, when you combine all of the factors of speed, power, average, I mean, you have, two of the, and again, batting average is not a tell-all metric anymore, but you look at like, somebody like Trey Turner, somebody like Bryce Harper, somebody like JT Realmuto, these guys make contact more often than not. You look at somebody like Kyle Schwarber, who led the National League in home runs. Nick Castellanos could be due for a bounce back season. I think probably will bounce back. Again, Bryce Harper with when you're talking about power. If you put Adam Duvall in that lineup, that's another little power bat to give you. They get on base a ton. I mean, they don't strike out all that often when you look at somebody like Bryson Stott, when you look at somebody like Alec Boehm. Look, as far as Phillies lineups go, it is probably the best we've seen, I want to say, since like 2009, but I think it might be better than
Oh
2009.
boy,
Like
Alex,
it's
what?
really well, like you compare it, right? Like you've got J-Roll as your base stealer and your leadoff hitter, right?
Yep.
Trey Turner is just as Trey Turner is arguably a Hall of Famer right now. Maybe needs a little bit of a way to go, but J-Roll is currently struggling to get into the Hall of Fame. But they're definitely similar calibers of players, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You look at, if you look at, I guess Ryan Howard is who we're going to be comparing for Kyle Schwarber, which is like they are very, very similar players, and the shift is about to go away. The shift is what killed Ryan Howard's career. I was going to say,
that's
what can it do for Kyle Schwarber's career? Like, what can it do for Kyle Schwarber's career? Bryce Harper and Chase Utley, we're comparing. I would take probably Bryce Harper over Chase Utley. I love Chase, love the man to death. I would probably take Bryce Harper over Chase Utley. JT Realmuto and Jason Worth, we're kind of comparing. I mean, like, it really does feel like this is at least the best lineup we've seen since 2009, if not the best lineup we've seen. Since, like, I don't even know when. Since the Mike Schmidt days, probably.
It's by far the best lineup in my fandom since 2012. That's about crazy. If you compare the 2015 lineup to this right now, it's like night and day. And the Mets have got a little bit come back to us with the Carlos Correa, and they've got Escobar instead. Woo. I know
that lineup is looking a little light.
It is. And the Braves, I never write off the Braves because they're always there. You can, but the Nats and Marlins are there for everyone's taking. Do you know what I'm looking forward to? Like, some people say the early part of the season, it's slow. Baseball's a slow burner. Early games don't really have that same intensity and stuff. But I think for us and the NL East, it is, because it's going to be such a dogfight between us, the Mets, and the Braves, that every win early doors counts, because this division's up for grabs. This could be a fantastic, colossal dogfight between us, the Braves, and the Mets. And we don't face the Mets until the end of May, early June. I think it's the first time we face the Mets. We need to get some wins on the board before we face them, and then we've got them in a flurry in summer and we've got them twice in September. It's going to be important to get those wins against the likes of the Reds, the Marlins, the Nationals, early doors. These early games, which sometimes the season's just starting, not going to mean much. It is this year. I think it really is. And every series against the Mets and Braves is just going to be fantastic. I can't wait. I can't wait. I think this team under Rob Thompson, the fantastic coaches we have, like, what a setup we have again compared to 2-3 years ago. What a contrast. All started with getting Dave Dombrowski in, Sam Fold, the backroom staff. The Phils did it right. They started at the top and worked their way down to get the backroom in place, get the foundations in place, and then get the farm at the minor league set up with the coaches, then get the coaches in, then get the players we need in. Girardi going, Rob Thompson coming in, the rest is history. And now this team is, again, you can't write them off getting deep into the postseason again. It's that good. It's potentially that good. Quickly, who would you add to the lineup? Obviously, depth players now is what we're looking at. Who would you add to that bench that's around at the moment?
For me, what the bench looks like right now is it's Dalton Guthrie, it's Garrett Stubbs, it's Derek Hall, and then Edmundo Sosa, which great bench, first of all, even after trading Nick Maton and and I tweeted about this too. I think the reason that Nick Maton was expendable is because Edmundo Sosa is just a really good baseball player that is just sitting on the Phillies bench. So, that's just it. It's the way it is, right? You got to deal from your depth, but that's a great bench. I do think probably Derek Hall is the guy that maybe will be the odd man out when Bryce Harper comes back. But at least for now, he projects to start on the bench, which is great because then you have so much flexibility. If you do bring in a guy like Adam Duvall, right? You plop Adam Duvall in right field, Nick Castellanos is DHing. Maybe then you shift Nick Castellanos to right field and put Derek Hall at DH against certain soft-tossing right-handed pitchers. Yep. Like, you have a lot of ways that you can mix this up. Derek Hall can come in as well, kind of in late game as a pinch hitter. There's a lot that you can do with that bench. So in terms of adding more guys, maybe they favor Cody Clemens over Derek Hall, and maybe Derek Hall starts in AAA. Who knows? Maybe there's a guy that really impresses in spring. That can definitely happen. There's also, the factors of Johan Rojas is here, Simon Muzziotti is here. Those are two guys that are really great gloves and add some speed and versatility to your bench. So, and I think both of those guys are going to get the year to kind of develop a little bit more. But man, it really is so seldom that you look at a Phillies ball club, at least, and you say, this is a complete team. And I really think, with the exception of the addition in the outfield that they need to make, I really do think once they make that move, you're looking at a really, really complete baseball team. And as homerish as I may be at times, I sit down and I look at this roster and I really struggle to find ways that I would improve it past the one aspect that I've already mentioned. Because, whether it's just the fact of some guys being here, obviously, like, you can always improve upon some of the players that you have, but in terms of what they are locked into as far as roster construction, it's a complete baseball team. They have really good, really, really good crop here. And it's just fascinating to see the way that this organization has shifted over the last, 3 years, 4 years. It's pretty cool to see.
It's awesome. And, 79 days till opening day. Like, I'm ready now. Like, I'm counting down the day to track day.
No, I'm ready for spring training.
I'm ready for spring training. I'm ready for track day. I'm ready to see the Fanatic waving the trucks out of Citizens Bank Park, which, by the way, looks so strange about the scoreboard up there. It's
I know, right?
You don't really appreciate the scoreboard and what a sort of iconic part of Citizens Bank Park it is until it's gone. It's like, just doesn't look right. I can't wait to see it.
I don't know. I'm kind of worried that it's going to look too big, the new scoreboard.
They are making it bigger. But from what I've seen, from what's already been constructed when I was there last week, it's going to be bigger. I don't know what they're doing.
And I do wonder what they're doing with the old one too. I kind of wonder what's happening with that. But we'll see. Maybe it's going to go in right field or some. Who knows?
I can put it in my garden. I'd happily have it. Quickly on social media, asked you guys, what else would you do with the lineup so far? Jordan says we would definitely need an outfielder, which is what we've alluded to pretty much, to cover Bryce's absence, give Kyle and Nick a break and switch them between the DH. So maybe someone like Adam Duvall. It's nice to have a DH, isn't it, that we can actually utilize. The DH saved Bryce Harper last year and saved the field.
They would not have made the World Series last year if the DH didn't exist.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was no way.
And now we can sort of see the DH for what it was going to be last year, I suppose, before Bryce's injury, and Bryce occupied that DH. And obviously when he'll come back, same again. He'll have that DH. I'm happy with that. Keep Bryce at the bat. Perfect for me. But yeah, I'll be interested to see what the Phil's do. And there is, like I said, there's good versatile options there as well. Jeffrey Branch says at this point, an outfielder as a fill-in for Bryce and who's ready to play. Dylan wants Duvall or McCutcheon. Martin Caden says again, Kutch and another starter. Jack Smith, Kutch in 1 year and another starter. I got to think Andrew Pater is going to see big league time this season, but that can't be the plan. But that can't be the plan to wait for him to be ready. Jeff Durham says Mike Moustakas, Eric Hosmer, Jesus Aguilar, or someone else who can play first instead of the corner butcher. Rhys is my guy. I can't say. Rhys is my guy.
I don't think there's ever been a more divisive player in Philadelphia sports. I really don't. He is so hated, but also so loved by so many people. It's kind of wild.
It's real. Like the game.
He's going to have a great year, though.
The bat spike game against the Braves. We were stood out in the outfield under the scoreboard, and even when his name was being announced by Dan Baker,
I was sitting diagonally from you with my dad.
I knew I could see you, Alex. When his name was read out, the group of guys next to us were booing him, and they weren't joking. Yep. They were booing him. It wasn't Rhys. It was boos. Yeah. And keep him cool. And they were going at Rhys proper going at Rhys, and I just biting my tongue. I love Rhys, and I can't stand the criticism when he's especially when he's out there doing his thing. Come on, the home run and the bat spike, it will live with me forever. And seeing those guys going mental, and they could tell we were getting quite annoyed with them slagging off Rhys. The looks I was giving them, and like the come on guys, seriously. And then we were all embracing when Rhys hit that home run and going mental. Will always live with me. I love Rhys, and I really want him to. What's going to happen to Rhys? What?
Oh,
what's the end game for Rhys? It's so bizarre. Like you said, he's so
well,
decisive with this fan base. What is, because Rhys seems to me the sort of guy who would take any sort of money to play for the Phils. He seems like that's Aaron Nola took a great deal. And I can see, do they try and lock Rhys up long term on a good deal, or do they just keep doing this 2 year short contract thing and sort of see how he plays out?
first of all, it's going to be hilarious because I get so many people calling me a Rhys fanboy or something like that, specifically because I highlight when Rhys Hoskins does well, because he is a very good baseball player. Every metric suggests that he is. And yeah, he doesn't have a great glove, but what are you going to do? But because I highlight him doing well, apparently I'm a big fanboy of Rhys, but he is going to have a career year this year. That's just how it works. He's going to have a career year. He's going to hit 35, 40 home runs. He's going to go into, the free agent class next year, the best bat outside of Shohei Ohtani and outside of maybe Manny Machado is like Matt Chapman, maybe. And that's a huge drop off. It is a terrible free agent class in terms of offense. It's really bad. So Rhys Hoskins is going to be a heavily valued player because he is going to be coming off of a great year. Probably, even if he's not, he's going to be a heavily valued player because he has a ton of potential offensively. He always does. He's just that kind of guy. So I think the eventual outcome is that the Phillies probably offer him a qualifying offer. He probably declines because, again, it's a bat light class next year, and I think he probably, yes. So he's gonna be jonesing for some money. I think he probably ends up elsewhere. And that's gonna be really sad.
California somewhere.
I could see him go again. He's a first baseman with a not great glove, but with the DH being a thing, he's going to be a highly valued designated hitter. So like we're talking about, the depth chart goes Shohei Ohtani, Rhys Hoskins at designated hitter. So he's probably going to get a pretty good payday. And I think the Phillies will probably pivot elsewhere for a bat. I keep saying this to anybody that asks me. I think Matt Chapman to Philadelphia is kind of a lock. They're going to want that platinum glove, and they're going to want a guy that can kind of, pump some power into the lineup late in the lineup. So I think that's probably where they turn with the money that they have coming off the books. I wasn't ready for this chat, actually.
I don't know why I brought it up.
That's why I kind of went, oh, no.
I'm not ready for this at all.
It's going to be tough. But he's going to be great this year. I can state that in ink. He is going to have a huge year because everybody always does when they're leaving their team that they grew up with, and then go off into free agency. So he's going to be great, and that's going to be really fun because everybody on Twitter that ever, said all those negative things about him, there's one person in particular that I have in my brain, but I won't out them. Ooh. But there's one person that is always in my mentions about Rhys Hoskins. And it's going to be really fun to just like kind of watch those people slowly turn coats when Rhys Hoskins kind of powers this lineup a little bit in 2023. That's going to be interesting.
I just can't.
It's okay. It's bittersweet.
Rhys wouldn't go back to Kepler, would he? Come on, guy nearly.
Oh, that's a good landing spot for him, though.
I can see the Giants, but Kepler again. Oh man, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to even think about Rhys in a different uniform. I can't do it. Mikey Diaz says, I would like to see Michael Wacha added at number 5. Is he a free agent?
Interesting.
Would we have to trade?
No, he's a free agent. He has not signed yet. Surprisingly, had a mediocre year with the Red Sox. I think his on paper stats were good, but as far as the peripherals go, he was pretty mediocre. I mean, maybe he probably gets a guaranteed deal elsewhere, and I don't think the Phillies are looking to guarantee a roster spot and money to a guy that is just kind of gonna be Bailey Falter reskinned. You know what I'm saying? Like, a different version of Bailey Falter.
Yeah.
So I don't really see that happening, but maybe a lot of people seem to want another starter. I didn't know that was a thing. So maybe they go out and give a guy a split contract or something like that. I doubt it, but.
Jim McHale-Hatton says they've done a great job this year improving the team with talent. In my opinion, the only area to improve is the starting rotation. We've got some great guys, but could use one more quality arm. I think people just want to see that 1 to 4 absolute dominance. Well, we've got it already, really. 1 to 5.
I'm telling you,
they were 1 to 6 dominance.
But this town was spoiled. This town was spoiled with the 2011 rotation. Absolutely spoiled. Nobody like a Roy Halladay, Cole Hamels, Cliff Lee, Roy Oswalt, and Joe Blanton. Rotation does not happen every day. That is not a normal thing. And it really hasn't happened since. Like even the Mets, who just spent $1 bajillion on a new rotation, theirs is nothing compared to Halladay, Lee, Hamels, and Oswalt. So that just doesn't happen really anymore. So I don't know what you want from him, but the fifth starter is always kind of a guy that like is either a prospect or like just a guy that's going to eat you some innings. And Bailey Falter is that, especially now that he doesn't really have to worry about, if he is granted that spot, he doesn't have to worry about, maybe I'll be pitching out of the bullpen. Maybe he's a starting pitcher this year. That's what he is. And he's not gonna shift elsewhere until otherwise noted.
Again, if you look at 2 years ago when our fifth starter was Vince Velasquez, Bailey Falter, Vince Velasquez.
At least you know what you're getting in Bailey Falter.
Yeah, Vince was a wild ride every time. And Christian says Mike Trout, which I think would be everyone's dream outfield answer. And that would lock us the World Series in, and good night, Vienna. The season's done before it starts. Alex, I think that's pretty much a wrap. That is everything up to date. That's as up to date as we can get, except the Phils did release someone while we were.
Yeah, Vinny Natoli got released.
There you go. So you're now exactly bang up to date as you can be with the Phils for this early January. It's been fun, Alex. It's been fun talking Phils again. Been fun to.
Isn't it always?
It's been a nice refresher for myself, and now I'm pumped. 79 days until it's DeGrom versus Wheeler, Rangers versus the Phils in Texas.
If DeGrom makes it to opening day, but
he never usually does he? That could
we'll
be.
See.
Or it could be Spencer Howard.
Knock on wood for him, though. I honestly would love to see DeGrom in a Rangers uniform on opening day. I feel like that would be a really cool. Because I don't care anymore. He's not a Met. I'm fine. Yeah, watch him be a brilliant pitcher. That'd be great.
World Series, and they bizarrely get there. We ain't going to see him again, so get him out the way on day one. I want to, especially if the Phils, it is DeGrom, and the Phils, knock a few past him. There's no better way to start the season than a win against DeGrom. That's the best way to start a season. And then with the Yankees after. And then the Reds, then the Marlins, and we're straight into a season.
God, they're gonna need that break. They need that break against the Reds because, good Lord, that's two tough matchups. That Rangers rotation is pretty decent. It's
and
a lot
of top of it as well. Yeah, we're getting the meat of that rotation.
Yeah, it's a lot of ceiling, not a lot of floor. But like if they unlock those guys, it's pretty good. The lineup is decent. And then the Yankees. Yankees are good this year. Yankees rotation is probably the best in baseball. So
yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait. Guys, as ever, thank you so much for listening and watching on the YouTube channel. Hope you've enjoyed. If you have, hit that subscribe button. We'll have a new podcast very soon as we start to build up towards spring training. It's not that far away, is it? What, late February pitchers and catchers report? We're already in the middle of January-ish.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
We're getting there. It's going to come. Meanwhile, you've got the Eagles flying high. You've got the Sixers, the Flyers, and the Union start up soon. So it's going to come around real quick. In the meantime, guys, enjoy the rest of your nights. Enjoy the rest of your week. and we will talk to you soon. From me, Dave Shaw, it's Ring the Bell. And from Alex,
Ring the bell, Dave.
Yes. See you later, folks.